if there's only one thing we could dedicate our life to solving, would be solving aging, because it causes so much suffering in the world. DNA prevent certain genes from working, and the certain genes turn off and certain genes turn on, and we call that epigenetics. And so those marks change as you get older. And we can predict from those marks what's the biologic age of a person. I think the act of caring, the act of their doctor caring for you makes the change.
What's poppin', everybody? Today I am here with my doctor, Dr. Sanjeev Goel, and this man is amazing. He's got a lot of things on the go with his practice called Peak Human Labs. He is the anti-aging expert. He's attacking Alzheimer's and he's reversing what we know to be. And there's so many interesting things that we're going to talk about today, and don't want to get too much into it on this intro right now because got to watch the episode to listen and hear more. But without further ado, thank you for joining us today, Dr. Sanjeev Goel.
Thank you.
Awesome to have you in our presence today. I want to learn so much more about your practice and what it is you do, and share it all with our audience, because I'm a client of yours and I've been absolutely impressed with what you do all across the board. It's been fantastic. It's been life-changing for me. So, I mean, Peak Human Labs, we have the CEO, the founder over here.
Thank you.
Dr. Goel.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be sitting with you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about the practice, and
Sure.
then we'll dive deeper into some more specific questions. But yeah, who are you? What
Well,
do you
yeah.
do?
Well, thanks again for having me here. And Nick, you're one of those patients that you want to interact with. Like, it's not always the case like that. And especially when clients are making, gains and they're like living that peak life. That's like why I'm doing this work. So how did I get into this business? I've basically been a family doctor for about 25 years.
Okay.
Born and brought up in Montreal, came over here, went to U of T medical school, and in doing the regular grind like every doctor was doing, like seeing 30 to 50 patients a day, dealing with the same old things, seeing them for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and it just gets tiring, because at the end of the day you feel like you're just like running through the practice and nothing is really changing for these people, because it's the exact same issues they're coming back for, and we're not making any change. And
Right.
so I feel like I'm just like writing the scripts like a pill pusher in effect. So so basically I've always been dabbled in trying to figure out like what is the real answer to some of these questions of people's health problems. And I've done everything from being a physician on a ship. I've been working remote medical clinics in India and Nepal. I've worked in Africa, up north. So I've done so many different things, and always was interested in the whole anti-aging space. Like, that was really interesting to me, because I thought if there's only one thing we could dedicate our life to solving, would be solving aging, because it causes so much suffering in the world. Like, it's like ultimately you see people when they get old, and that's painful.
Yeah.
So I thought, and you see that your own parents, you see like that's sad, like, because everybody was young at one point and had all this youthfulness. And then you have to kind of see that that's just part of life. But is it really part of life? Because the whole idea in anti-aging movement and the whole anti-aging kind of way of thinking now is that aging is a disease. It's not something we have to accept.
Okay.
And that's what we're learning from scientists now, is that there's like these kind of like processes that are happening within the cell that theoretically could be reversed.
Okay.
Like, we don't have to accept that just because you're 60 that you gotta be 60. Because if you look at other animals, some animals live a very long life. Like, there's certain bats, for example, that live an extremely long life. There's like a naked mole that lives 30 years, whereas like a regular rat lives like 2 years. So it just gives you an example that there's something within the body of these animals that kind of has the speed of their aging.
Okay.
And that's potentially changeable. Okay. And so once I kind of start thinking about this, that aging is a disease, then hey, I should dedicate whatever talents I have, whatever skill I have in thinking, to kind of bringing this science, to the forefront, because like I want to benefit from that too. And when you when you hit my age, which is a little bit over than what then we start going on the downhill. You start to think, you know what? I only have this much time on the planet. I need to start to like think about what could I do for those around me and for myself to like, to have the most impact. So that's how we started Peak Human. It's a long, long story, but I ran a conference about 6 years ago at the convention center. We called it the Biohack Conference, where we brought together all these like leaders and all, like different things like, psychedelics, and the use of stem cells and various other things and how they were useful in health. So that kind of kickstarted this whole Peak Human business. And I think COVID was really the starting, because people, were looking for something a little different. Yeah. And we could not run our regular practice anymore because of the COVID restrictions. So then all of a sudden that opened up a whole opportunity. And sometimes what I like to say, it's that the enemy of the great is the good. Sometimes if you're just like the good enough, most people live like good enough. Like they're just like, I'm paying the bills, everything seems okay. Well, then there's no reason to become great, because you're just always doing good. Yeah. Good is okay. You're living with good. So as soon as like good wasn't possible, like we couldn't run a practice, then that opened up an opportunity to like live a dream. So that's why I like to tell the viewers is that, hey, sometimes you have to kind of like be willing to let go of the comfortable. Yeah. You got to push through the comfortable to get past.
There's a book called Good to Great.
Is it?
Yeah.
Good to Great.
I read it.
Yeah. Here I was saying,
you're totally right. Good is great's worst enemy, because it's like, you're kind of just, why do I need to change? Everything's going all right. Yeah. I don't mind this, but that's not like, this is awesome. I love it. Oh my God, let's go, Yeah.
That's why people, when they make these awesome, amazing changes, it's because they come to me because they've had something happen to them. Yeah. There's something that kicked them in the butt that said, you know what? It's not good enough to be where they're at right now. They want to like make that change because they're like, I'm tired of being just good or whatever, or just okay. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the type of people we want to work with. People who are like, you know what, this isn't good enough. Yeah. Yeah. Because that's how we can see results. Like,
love it. And other than like, so the anti-aging side of things, and like the weight loss, and you being a private doctor, right? Yeah. And having it be that all your patients can reach out to you on WhatsApp, can phone you, can text you at any point in time. I know I've called you on the weekends. I've hit you up late night on the evenings. I've like stupid early mornings, and like you're always on it. You're always responding, and that it's been an experience it's been life-changing for me, because you get so turned off by just the healthcare program that we have in this country. Because whenever you're going to the hospital or the doctor, right, it's like you said, right, like you feel like they're just pushing something that they're incentivized to push on you that is like a quick fix, but they're not going deep, right? And they don't, there's not that like they really care for you, right? It's just, how do I get this guy out of here the quickest and give him something that I'm going to make the most money from, right? And that's like the polar opposite of what I feel like when I walk into your establishment, right?
Yeah, and I don't think unless we can necessarily blame the individual healthcare providers. Like what I think is the system is structured to treat sick people. Yeah, like what we call a sick care system. It's all built around treating you. Like if you got a cut or you fractured your leg or you need to have a heart surgery, then the system works really good for those people. Right. Like that's built for those two people. So, but if you're just trying to like stay at a good weight, and you want to solve like you're having a bit of depression, or something is like something's not quite right, you're not sleeping properly. That's not a system that's going to help fix that problem. Right. And the reason why I really believe like it's about, you have to love you got to love the work, otherwise, it's going to be not possible. Yeah. So I love doing the work I do, because I feel like we're making change with people. Yeah. So it doesn't feel like work to me, because even though I'm on like 7 days a week, because I keep it manageable with a certain number of clients that I feel very close to. Yeah. And that's it. I only want to do that much. But I wanted to give super high service, because that's what I would want for my own family. Like I think that's what's missing right now, is that we need more people like me who are doing this high-end, high-touch kind of service. Absolutely. Yeah. Because that's what people need. Like it's not, you almost need someone, just I think the act of caring the act of their doctor caring for you, your
Yeah.
healthcare provider caring for you, makes the change.
Oh, for sure.
Just knowing that
Yeah.
makes the change.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
because like how many people have told the person, hey, you need to eat better, you need to exercise. Nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about the telling or whatever. It's about sometimes just about that relationship that just starts to change people.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
that's what I think. I think the system is unfortunately, you can't do very much because the government could never afford. They could never afford the type of
Give you that
care.
treatment. Yeah.
They just couldn't. They go bankrupt. They're already going bankrupt. 50% of the healthcare budget is being spent on healthcare.
Right.
Of the
Check
whole
that
provincial
out.
budget.
Yeah.
So how could
Okay.
they potentially ever get, how could you ever get that type of care? I don't think we could even blame them, because I think when people want to get good care, they got to expect they got to pay for it. Like, that's just the reality.
Right.
And we should not, demonize this two-tiered healthcare system, because, or three-tiered, or whatever you want to call it, because, there's always going to be that. There's going to be people who are want to get more than what somebody else wants. Some people maybe not even want it. They're not ready for it. Why should they get that type of care? If they don't want it,
Yeah.
why should they
Yeah.
get
Exactly.
that care? They're getting what care they want.
Yeah.
That works. That's fine. The basic care should be given to everyone.
Right. Yeah.
But
Good
if they
way
want
to-
more
yeah.
than that,
Yeah.
I think they should pay for it. That's how it works. And then they'll get the best care.
Hey guys, if you're having a great time listening to this podcast right now, please make sure to subscribe and like, as that's how we know that you like it, and we'll keep it rolling. So to bring it back to the anti-aging
Sorry.
side of things right now, right?
know.
The biohacking,
Right.
you have this really, really cool test that
Yeah.
essentially lets you know what your internal age is.
Yes.
And I'll speak from experience. What I first clocked in at in regards to age and where I'm at right now, I'm over 30 years younger because of you. And I feel it. I know I look it. And I know that, it's something that I wouldn't have been able to do if it wasn't for your program. But not only that, even to just become aware of it, right? So tell me a little bit more about that test. Like, what is it exactly that, is gauging that age? And then what's your strategy on pulling that back, right?
Yeah, for sure. So like I was mentioning before, is that, scientists are really trying to understand what is aging. How is it happening? And it looks like as we're aging, it's certain marks are happening on the DNA. So your DNA is like the code of, blueprint of life. But on top of the DNA is a structure that allows how does the DNA get read. So think of it like a book.
Okay.
But if the letters of the pages of the book are starting to get worn, it doesn't matter what is there. If you can't read the letters, or certain letters are not showing up anymore, then it doesn't really matter. Like then you can't use the book properly.
Right.
And that's what kind of happens to us, is that as we're getting older, the marks on the DNA prevent certain genes from working, and the certain genes turn off and certain genes turn on, and we call that epigenetics. And so those marks change as you get older, and we can predict from those marks what's the biologic age of a person. It's very predictable.
Oh, wow.
It's very predictable. We can predict your chronological age too. Like, we can predict exactly how old you are from that too. But there's ones that predict biologic age, means that how likely are you to die from disease? How likely are you to live? How long are you supposed to live? Are you going to get cancer? Are you going to get heart disease? All this can be predicted from this biologic age test.
Wow.
And so it's there's many different clocks, as we call them, and they keep improving. And what? Just I think 2 weeks ago, a new clock got released, and I'll send you the results. We have gone back and now report on everybody backwards as well, so we can now give you even a more accurate clock that was developed with Harvard.
Wow.
So this science is moving very quickly. So that's one way of measuring biological age, is the DNA test, DNA methylation test. And the second test is looking at your immune system. And the immune system basically is aging as we're getting older, mostly by becoming more inflamed. So as we get older, because we're getting, we're always responding to all these viruses and bacteria, and our immune system is fighting.
Yeah.
And as all that fight is wearing out that immune system and getting it to be not working as good. That's why, like, somebody who's like 70 can't fight off COVID like you can.
Right.
because their immune system is not as strong as you. So we can predict how old a person is by looking at the amount of inflammation is in their immune system.
Okay.
So, and how can we reverse it? Like in your case, again, just like basic getting, eating properly, exercise, being in better shape, sleeping, all this has major impact on your inflammation in your body.
Right.
So that's how that's happening. And so some of this stuff is reversible.
Yeah.
We're not at the point yet where I can say forever, you're going to live forever. Like we haven't got there, but I'm pretty confident that within like 10 years, for people who can afford it, we will be able to reverse age. Like I think that's where the science really is.
That's massive.
Yeah, I think it really will. It will be. So I think be prepared. You're very lucky to be this young and this, at this time, because it's going to be there for us for sure. I don't know if I've mentioned to you, I do this treatment called plasmapheresis, where we take out your plasma and we replace it. And that's basically been shown to, reverse aging on these biologic age tests. I actually had my treatment yesterday. I've had done like 6 of these treatments where we take out the plasma and replace it. I think right now, I think it's probably the most interesting and science-based method right now to reverse aging, being used by this plasmapheresis. It's like we take the blood out from one arm.
Yeah.
And then the machine separates out the plasma, which is the clear part of your blood.
Right.
We throw that out, and we replace it, and then your body makes new plasma, but consider it like an oil change.
Okay.
We're basically removing part of your blood and throwing it out.
Really?
And that, in effect, allows your body to make new blood, new plasma, which is younger.
Yeah.
It's like getting rid of all the old memory of how your body has been up to now. So again, it's not a permanent solution, but there've been some very successful studies in people with Alzheimer's, and people are showing how their aging markers have decreased with this type of treatment.
Wow.
So we're offering that. That's some of the stuff that I'm really excited about. I know I may have mentioned to you that I have a particular interest in Alzheimer's.
Okay.
On my channel, I have a YouTube channel also, where we're documenting the battle to end Alzheimer's, which is like a 20-year journey for me. I'm basically doing a documentary.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah,
because I have one of the genes that makes me at high risk for Alzheimer's, and a number of people in my family have had Alzheimer's, so it's for me very personal.
Oh, wow.
So I'm tracking this. I'm tracking the science of Alzheimer's and what discoveries are being made, what can be done, and obviously what's happened to me. Nothing so far. Luckily, I'm not. I don't see any signs yet, but I'm not as sharp as I was when I was 20, for sure. So I think it's this is a very exciting time.
Yeah,
it's an exciting time.
Cool. That's awesome. And then there's a lot of other, like you got an amazing skincare program, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where now you guys are doing the microderma.
Yeah.
You have like real good products as well that can, make it so that
I could talk a little bit about that for sure. I really started my whole kind of peak human business with looking at the outside of the body. So yes, we do Botox and fillers, and we do have the machine. It's called a Morpheus 8. It's a really popular Kim Kardashian kind of machine, which basically puts small little needles on your face with electricity that tightens up your face and adds more collagen.
Right.
So it is definitely successful. It works. Like can be done throughout your body. There's even a vaginal rejuvenation device now, which makes that part better. There's
honey,
lots.
Get over there. Boy, doc.
we have a machine called the Emcella machine.
Coochie tightener.
Are you editing that part out?
I'll name your machine, doc.
Well, it could be used for men too.
Okay.
And gives stronger orgasms.
Okay.
Because we have a machine called the Emcella machine. And then what that machine does is it basically tightens your pelvis.
Okay.
And again, for a woman, very important because that pelvis gets weaker after having kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it does definitely works. Like doing 11,000 Kegels. I don't know if you know what a Kegel is when you can squeeze that muscle that when you want to hold your pee, then you squeeze that muscle. Or it's the same when you're ejaculating, it's the same muscle.
Yeah.
So in a man, it can potentially help, better orgasms or whatever. But for a woman, it'll help sexual function as well, but can also just help the whole bladder control piece. A very successful machine. So we do a bunch of stuff on the aesthetic part. I'm really passionate about the inside because I think if we can fix the inside, then we can do so much. The outside will just come.
Yeah.
Obviously
yeah,
it'll just happen. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. And then it's all in-house. Like your clinic has it all. I know when I walk to the back, I see the girls back there. They're doing the chiro stuff.
Yeah.
They're doing some massaging, some, and then there's other like activations in there that have to do with psilocybin and microdosing and like I found that really interesting.
Yeah. I'm not when I first got into this space, I was very, very interested in psilocybin space, and I've done a number of journeys myself. Like I think it's definitely life-changing, and maybe actually one of the reasons why I'm actually here today doing this is because of psilocybin, because it can definitely change the way you look at things, and can be very healing. But specifically,
me too. I'm actually going on a journey this weekend with my life coach, an inward journey.
Oh, amazing! Yeah,
did it in Costa Rica, so I'm a big fan. I do a little bit of microdosing too. So yeah.
So I'm very, very passionate about that. So the issue here in Canada is that still these are still not legal. Like psilocybin is not a legal treatment, but I mean you can get it off. You could just buy it now at any Toronto store now, so you can see that it's in effect. Not an issue now, but just like where cannabis was 10 years ago. But for medical treatment, it's not yet approved. So right now, the clinic in our that's renting space in our place is called Path, and they're doing ketamine assisted journeys. So again, being used for depression. I haven't personally done it, but it seems to be quite effective as well. But it's slightly different than a psilocybin journey.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And what is it that is really like, so I wanted to talk about your client list and who it is that is coming to see you and how that's like really influenced their networks and what starts to happen with the referrals and the bit of life changing that you're doing over here, right? Like how does that look?
Yeah, I'd say that generally the type of person who wants to come to me, I was mentioning, is somebody who says, I just want to be in the top, peak condition, and they're willing to pay for it. Generally those tend to be people who are kind of running their own business. Yeah. Because they come from that mindset. Yeah. Like they're their own person. They're like in charge of their own life. I want to call. So entrepreneurs usually are like that. Yeah.
Pro athletes.
Yeah, we get a lot of sure. We get lots of athletes as well. We get some big time celebrities. But
can you name any of them?
I can't really name any.
Come on, give me one name. Give me the big boy. Give me the big boy.
You guys can imagine.
The biggest artist in Toronto?
Yeah.
All right, the biggest artist in Toronto is a client of Dr. Goel's. We'll leave it at that. Yeah. And okay, so speaking on that topic, why I wanted to introduce you like that is because I brought you someone who's very important to me, and I'll leave their name out of it as well. And they were misdiagnosed. God knows what path or lane they would have went down if it wasn't for you, right? And then when you diagnosed what it was not that, right? And you were able to get it under control and reverse it and continue to see, things happen in the upwards direction and it be eliminated now. Right, like that's a big deal, right? Like,
I think
life-changing stuff.
Yeah,
right?
and I think that would just. I think in that case, in many people's cases, it's just requiring a bit more attention. It's like, this person needed more attention, and I think what happens in the system, which is built around volume and quick visits, people don't have the time to dedicate to give him the proper attention he required, and then they can make mistakes. Yeah. And I think that's all that was probably happening. I think again the best referral here is the person's success, and then that's how I get luckily everything is all word of mouth. Like people come to me from word of mouth, which is always the best way. And I think for everyone out there, that's you're doing something you love to do and just do super well at 100%,
Yeah.
then people just come. Like, just do your passion, whatever it is. And
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
just come no matter what.
No, that's
just like
awesome.
you live that life. Look here. Like, this
Yeah.
is not the typical, you don't run the typical type of financial services business,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But
Right.
you do what you love to do, and it just keeps coming.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
more business
exactly.
keeps coming because you're just doing what you do.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
no,
it.
absolutely, and because there's results, because there's that like that real passion that you have for it, right? And like that energy and that vibration and like that's what's attracting. What it is walking through your doors on an ongoing basis, right? And that's why I think that what you're doing is fantastic, is incredible. And like you said a little bit earlier on, there needs to be more of you. There needs to be, these practices popping up everywhere. And healthcare, I think, needs to be looked at from this angle and brought, to the awareness of people that this is an option, right? I didn't know that, right? Not too long before I met you, right?
Yeah.
That there's something like this existed. So I feel like it's part of my duty on my personal development journey to whatever it is I find that works for me to share it with everyone. Why would I hide that? Why would I put it in my pocket and hold it as a secret, right? It's like, everybody get on this.
Oh, thank
What
you.
I mean? Like, this is good for us, right? This is good for humanity. This is, things like this are what's going to make this world a more beautiful place, right?
Yeah,
Is
I
when
think
people
we are
looking after
honestly
themselves.
moving to higher vibration. People are moving to higher vibration. It's happening,
Yeah.
right? Like,
good.
so as more people move to higher vibration, more opportunities like this happen. Like,
Yeah.
more, you end up meeting the right people
Yeah.
to guide you
exactly.
on this. Maybe, you just happen to be listening to this podcast and it opens up something, and something you heard from this podcast that changed your life. Like, I
Yeah.
think that's how
Yeah,
it happens.
Honestly, that's how my personal development journey started. I was watching a podcast, and my life coach, who's now my life coach at the time wasn't,
Right.
was on, and I was just like, man, this guy's got something that I want.
Yeah.
There's a different kind of a vibration going on there. How
Yeah.
do I get to that level, right? It was a podcast that started this journey, and I could honestly say it's changed my life. So to go to your point with that, right? Like that's why I was really excited to do this episode today, because I know you were going to drop some heavy golden nuggets. And, we
I
could
wish
share
I
it
had
with the
like,
audience,
the
right?
secret. I wish I could tell people, hey, this is just do this and this is going to happen. It doesn't happen like
Yeah.
that. Like, I think that's what I think is good. Like, in life, one of the big lessons I learned is that you need to don't be afraid to get coaches in different parts of your life.
Yeah.
And consider me, I'm like the health part, the health coach.
Yeah.
And you have to have those, and so you always learn from other people, because if people you do everything yourself, it's going to take a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay to like ask,
Yeah.
the expert if
Yeah.
you need financials,
Yeah,
advice.
exactly.
Go to Nick.
Yeah.
You need like advice about your health, then go to your doctor, who's like, going to
Yeah.
coach you,
Yeah.
and build. If you need something else like speaking, you need to go to speaking coach, or
Yeah.
go work out. You need a workout coach. Like, I think
Yeah.
that whole idea of having a coach and a teacher
Yeah.
is a really important thing. So
Oh, big time.
with us, again, with my clients and me, it's like I can only be the guide. But like, again, it's that little thing. We change one little thing, and this happened with you too. It's like you change one little thing and just like snowballs.
Yeah.
Like, you start to make 10 more changes that I didn't even think about. You're
Yeah.
making them on your own, because once you realize and you're seeing results, then you just keep making more changes.
Yeah. Like
And
anything
that's
else.
all we do, is I start to help be somebody to kind of push them across,
Yeah.
help move them one step forward. But
Yeah.
everyone's answer is a little different. Everyone's like, what they're trying to achieve is different. Somebody's like, losing 10 pounds. Somebody else is like, I want to be happier. Somebody else is like, I want to have a better marriage, whatever. It could, sex drive. It could be 100 things, different
Yeah.
things that are different people's goals.
Yeah.
So we just meet people where they're at. Like, what are they trying to do? That's why at Peak Human, we're all about, like, it's physical, mental, and it's spiritual. Like, it's about trying to be in the top of all three of those things.
Yeah. And like, just for everyone that's listening in, like if you're in the entrepreneurial space, if you're a pro athlete, if you're just a regular guy or a regular girl, right? And you want to feel good and you want to get the most out of life, why wouldn't you make the investment into yourself? That's the most important thing that we have, right? Is the mind, the soul, right? The body, and why not have it be working in peak shape, And that for me was a no-brainer, right? I know that I couldn't have created these companies and built this business if it wasn't for peak human and operating at an optimal level. I know I wouldn't be able to be as good as a dad as I am if I wasn't, where I'm present, I'm mindful, I'm there, I'm a part of their lives. I can keep up with them when they're running around, right? Or, all these other different aspects of life, right? Like if I'm not taking care of my mind, my body, and my soul, then I'm just not going to show up every day like I've been able to show up, right? And that to go to your point, you start gaining that momentum, and it's addictive because it's like, man, I'm getting the most out of life. I love what I do. I look at the end of the day, I'm like, fuck, this day's over. You know what I mean? Like, I need another 20 hours today, right? So I and literally going to bed at night, just being like, I can't wait to wake up tomorrow, because like I'm really liking the way things are going.
I just think about it all night.
Yeah.
What I'm going to be doing next tomorrow.
Yeah, right. And like that's such a beautiful thing, right? And like I'm so grateful because I think back sometimes to the days that things weren't like that, and I was just like, man, that was tough to be like, looking at the clock and feeling like, when's this day going to be over, right? So. What your practice stands for and what you're doing and
we have to live it. I have to live it. Like, I was telling somebody that I'm the best example, or like I have to show, like I have to live that life. Like I have to be in the top shape, and I have to, I've just signed up for what I was telling you, the Rejuvenation Olympics, where it's like a worldwide contest to see who can reverse their age the fastest.
Wow.
So, so that type of stuff is, to me, that's like my next mission for the next year, to win that, see if I could win that contest.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to kind of do that. And I think for the viewers out there, I think it's about taking like, I don't know, minute. Start with a minute a day where you're just going to be quiet and ask, okay, is this good? Is this good right now where things are at? Are you good with what's happening? If people don't ask that question, nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
Are you good to like be where you're at right now? Okay, what steps should you take? If you're not good, what steps do you want to take?
Yeah.
What steps you want? Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's like finances. Maybe it's your marriage. Maybe it's something else. Whatever, workout. What part can you take a step on? Like, because, otherwise life will just pass you right by. It just passes you right by. You didn't realize we live in what I call automatic mode, where everything is just like, you're just living on your habits. Your habits just telling you, just doing things and automatically you're driving a car.
Yeah.
And then you realize, shit, I just already reached the destination. I didn't even notice anything. That's what happens in life too.
It's true.
So like, just being aware is the number one step we could do.
Yeah.
And so then, if you think that, hey, your health is, when you start realizing, hey, the health is, there's no price to that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be with me. It's just like, there's no price to like investing in your health. It's just like,
it's true.
Because
it's priceless.
Doesn't
that's where you got to put it first, and you'll see the ROI on it.
Yeah, and it may not happen right away.
No.
It may happen, 5 years down the road.
Yeah.
But there's no way it has to happen.
Yeah.
It's just impossible for it not to be that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so wanted to, again, thank you for spending the time with us, right? I know you're a busy guy. You got a lot on the go, a lot of people to see, a lot of lives to turn around. And just the fact that you'd come visit us today over here and give us your time is much, much appreciated. So thank you for today, and you're awesome.
No, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. It's a big honor to be here, and I really enjoyed the talk today, so appreciate that.
Right on. If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to subscribe, like it, because we're going to continue to bring on more rock stars like Dr. Sanjeev Goel in the future, and we need your support. Let's get it.